I've never dared ask you on the show.
Well...
I mean, no, but, like, so now, how old are you now?
I'm 77, and... oh, don't... don't! That is... all that... I think they applaud because they know they're going to live longer than me. You know, they go, oh, good. Or in New York, they applaud because that means there'll be a new apartment on the market soon. I hate when people say, like, oh, they're 77 years young. I met Vanessa Feltz, and she said to me, here's Joan, she's 77 years young, and I want to say, and here's Vanessa, and she's 350 pounds thin. Age sucks, and you have to face it. And you have these... I've been on this show with some of these older women that still try to look good. No names, Goldie Hawn. And she's my friend, and she says to me, would you believe I got a grown-up daughter? And you go, yes! Yes! And lower your skirt, your nipples are showing. I mean...
There goes the Goldie Hawn booking.
No, but age sucks, and you gotta face it.
But is it because America is really so youth-obsessed? I mean, how...
Oh.
And in the film, you show, you know, kind of, that it is hard for a woman of your age to get the jobs.
It's beyond difficult. The only jobs really left now for women, unless they get friendly with people to do films, but the only jobs left are really commercials. I just thank God I made my yearly nut this year on a product called Girly, which is for dry vagina. And it's... is it here yet? Well, anyone knows the heartbreak of dry vagina. I was perfect for it. Camels follow me home. 3 Jewish men are trying to rent my uterus instead of going to Miami. And there's... Thank God for these commercials. There's one called Zestra. Has that come here yet? It's like women's Viagra. Has that happened here yet? It's women's Viagra. And they had this big discussion with me. Should they make it in pill form? This is honest to God truth. It was in the newspapers. Pill form or cream, because they didn't know which would do better, and they finally decided, these idiots, will do it in cream, because if it's in pill form in a bar, a man can drop it in a woman's drink and she won't know it. But if you're in a bar and a guy goes, so where you from? I'm up for that commercial, too.
Judy Love, I know your mantra is laughter is healing.
Yeah.
Because stand-up, I mean, I'm not to be flippant, but it did kind of help you out of a dark place in your life.
Yeah, definitely. I feel, you know, I went through a period where I was quite depressed. My mum died. I was, you know, 9 months pregnant and broke up with my kid's dad all at the same time. And it was such a dark period for me, such a dark place. And I think growing up for me in the West Indian culture, everything, no matter how bad it is, there's a little bit of comedy in there. So, you know, laughter was something at the heart of things. Even at my mum's funeral, like, laughter was the heart of it, because you just don't know who's going to turn up. Am I going to meet someone that's my new cousin, or find out that you're actually my brother? Like, we just don't know what's going to happen. And it's just like, you know, you got those old school grannies there and aunties there, and they're telling you, don't cry, dry your eye. Are you still with that dirty little boyfriend of yours? Right? I'm grieving. Do you know what I mean? Forget anything else. And the fight for the food, you would love it. You would absolutely love it. And just the way that they just use laughter, even in the most hardest time. Like, for me, at my mum's funeral, there was like a crying competition. You know, I'm the daughter, I'm sobbing my heart out, but then there's one of the friends who would see me and be like, and then I would try to cry a little bit harder, and it would just literally be back and forth, and he'd hear one at the back. And I think one of the best things about it, you know, a West Indian funeral, is the singing, the clapping, the dancing. Everybody's doing that. But meanwhile we're doing that, you know what we're thinking? What time is the food? Where is the food? Right now, that's the clapping for the food. Like, so I just found that, for me, when I look at it, laughter has always been healing. It's always brought me through.
Yeah.
You can laugh about it, we can talk about it, we can learn about it, and we can move on.
And Bill, lovely to see you in a film. But how does it happen? Because is it true the thing you don't have an agent or a manager or anything?
I don't have a agent or an agent.
Oh, man.
I have neither.
Whoa! You're competitive, Matt Damon.
It's a problem. I hear Mark Wahlberg has that, too.
Don't play catch-up. So how do people contact you?
Well, actually, George reached me. George reached me through a mutual friend of ours, who basically wanted to know, are you busy? But George had told me the story of the movie about a year before, eating lunch, and I thought, yeah, go on, tell me, yeah, go ahead, and now you just say you want to do it. And he didn't say anything. And then about 9 months later, I get this message through my friend saying, oh, George wants to know if you're busy. And that was the job. So it's a great story. It's an amazing story. And I just said, oh, okay.
And you'd met George Clooney originally in Venice, was it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We met in Venice. He had a movie in Venice. I don't even remember, but I don't remember much. But it was the night we had Lost in Translation open in Venice, and it was a big deal. So there's one night, and all the Hollywood guys, they're all really stiffs, most of them. But one night of the year, they end up on this one island in Venice. They end up in Venice, and they all drink a whole lot for some apparent reason. Not George, but these other, like, show business guys. So a whole kind of crazy... No, George drinks all the time. That's George drinks regularly and consistently. But, so, I don't know, I met George that night, and we kind of hit it off. And then I went back to America, and my son said to me, what's this about you and George Clooney pushing people around in wheelchairs in Venice? And I said, you know, you're my son. I would have expected more from you, to believe that kind of a story. You know, I mean, why would you ever think that something like that actually happened? And he said, because there are pictures. And this is the age we live in. So, so it turned out that George and I were like taking women around in wheelchairs and trying to dump them into the swimming pool. No one died. No one died. It was a joke. It was a joke. They just got a rinse.
Tonight at the premiere, there were some relatives of the old Monuments Men's family, and a lady in a wheelchair came for a photograph with everyone, and she was there, probably in her 90s, and you sat on her knee.
She was 97, man. 97.
She was 97.
She was.
Respect. I asked Mark to do it first, and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it, and I went and I sat on her lap. No, I find that if you look at someone like that, you see the wheelchair. When you see someone on their lap, you see a party girl.
A 97-year-old party girl.
And she loved every second.
If you like Richard Ayoade, and who doesn't like Richard Ayoade, then... No, stop it.
I was genuinely asking you.
Then, ladies and gentlemen, you will probably love Ayoade on Ayoade, a book by Richard Ayoade exploring the work of Richard Ayoade. Is that correct, yeah. Richard Ayoade? It is. Yes. How do you describe this book to people?
Well, it is a joke. The fact that it is so... Yeah. I labour that joke.
No, it is very funny. It is very funny.
It's... we've got our first quote. It's not meant to be a serious interview with myself. The idea is, I thought it would be funny that I could be treated with the same reverence as kind of great directors who are interviewed at the end of their careers, like Orson Welles or Scorsese, and you get these huge interview books asking them about the craft. And I thought it would be funny, the idea of me being asked, not knowing anything, having no real great achievements, trying to sort of talk about my legacy now seemed a funny idea to me.
But have some people bought this thinking it's going to be an autobiography, kind of, you know, Richard Ayoade's a small boy and...
No one as yet has bought it.
It is out now. It is out now. It is possible to buy it.
A lot of people have said they might.
There's been a lot of interest.
Which for me is as good as an actual purchase. Yeah.
But so, to explain it, what's the best way? Could you read a bit out or something?
I could read, yes.
Is that a good idea?
Well, essentially, it's a bunch of jokes themed around film. That could be a description of it. I can read
OK,
some.
read a bit out, and then we'll get a flavour.
Also, OK, so in it, I interview myself throughout the book. And it's, you know, there's some dramatic scenes. There's a speedboat chase at some stage. And in this, the interviewer version of me, the you of me,
yes,
if, as it were, asks this question. So I'll do a slightly lower voice for me, less nasal. I'll back it off. Do you feel your work is easy to label?
That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Not at all. That's why people try to label it. They can't pin it down, so they want to put a label on it. I think people who label should themselves be labelled. They should be labelled as labellers with a little label. And then someone should put a pin in them. I don't like being labelled or pinned. I won't allow it. Do you like being labelled? I don't think so. Do you want to put a label on this? Ayoade leans over and gently kisses me on the cheek. Our eyes meet. The kiss becomes full, mouth-based, probing and deep. We end up making love. When I wake up, Ayoade is gone. I have wet myself.
Is it?
That didn't happen.
Sort of did.
Well, the book's a love story with myself.
But is it weird being on a chapter like this, selling the book? Because one of the things in the book is how kind of silly interviews are.
Yes, I'm not a brilliant salesperson of anything to do with me, which is a suboptimal position to put both of us in currently. And I must apologise. I mean, really, primarily to you.
And Kevin, obviously, you're like not just a stand-up. You're like a stand-up superstar. You sell out arenas all over the world.
The best of our time. Right?
Yes.
The best of our time.
But what's nice to know is it wasn't always like that.
Oh, no.
What did you perform at? You performed at a seafood festival?
I mean, which show you want to know about?
It was the one.
Got tons of them.
It was only, I think they wanted, was it crab?
I had a crab fest. That formed
Crab fest?
Listen,
What is that?
In the beginning of stand-up comedy, you're not performing in luxury, you know, venues. Wherever they feel that they can build the stage and make money is where you're going. So there was a crab fest. They was like, we're gonna book some talent, some comedian talent. And I was like, all right, well, you know, I'm available. And, I don't know if you guys have ever tried to tell a joke while people cracking crabs. It's not the best environment at all. I mean, literally, the frustration that comes from not being able to open a crab is serious. And if you're not funny at the same time, the stuff that you hear. I remember hearing a woman, an older lady who was like, she was cracking crabs. Because this is how you crack crabs. Looking at me and she's like cracking a crab. And I tell a joke and the joke doesn't work. And I remember this lady just going, oh no. And I don't think, I would much rather be booed. The disappointment that came from her voice and then, oh no. She said, baby, it was like, oh no, baby. As if I made a steak with my choice of life. Like I'm not doing it wrong. I mean, you know, look, the hardship that I went through has helped build me into the person I am today, where I can take so much. But I've been through it all. I was hit in the face with a buffalo wing. I performed at a...
Don't perform around food.
No. Well, if you go to my shows now, there's no food allowed. It was actually a male strip club that they shut down for comedy for the first half. So it was ladies in there, and you know, it was just supposed to be us performing for these women that were riled up. First thing, I got on stage when they introduced me, and this lady was like, "Pull it out." I said, hey, that's not me. I'm not here for that. I'm here to entertain. These are jokes. I know who's got kids. I start trying to merge into kid material. And there's one dude from the back. I just remember this dude from the back. He was like, "That's enough." And he just threw a buffalo wing at me. It landed, hit me in the cheek. A little bit of sauce, got like right here. Buffalo sauce is hot, so I assumed that it was a woman with a deep voice, so I was like, "Who threw it? Who threw it?" Because at the end of the day, I'm a man. I'm a man first. Don't disrespect me. He stood up. He was like, "I did it." And I contemplated just taking my clothes off. I was like, that's the only way to get out.
Man Down returns to Channel 4 this summer. Series 4. It's a hit.
It's still going.
Yeah, and all the previous series are available to catch up on all 4. What can you tell us? You're filming it now?
It's the last day tomorrow, actually. Last day of filming, yeah. But it's... what can I tell you about it? It's the most ridiculous series so far, and probably the most offensive.
But it's all based on your experiences as a teacher.
Well, loosely, Graham.
Well, except you say that. Every time Greg's here, you tell us stories, big teacher, and I keep thinking, oh, well, that's it now. He'll have told us you know, the funny things that happened to me as a teacher. But it seems like a bottomless pit. Like school trips. Because school trips seems like that's when all rules go out the window for pupils, everybody.
And for teachers, I think.
Yeah.
I think. You've got to remember, when I first started teaching, I was 21 years of age, you know, and I was sent to Paris on a school trip. 3 of us, all of us in our early 20s, in charge of a busload of kids. It's frankly amoral.
What'd you get up to?
Do you know, it's awful. I can say it now. I'm never going to go back to teaching now, right?
I think it's unlikely. Yeah.
And I got really drunk with 2 friends in a hotel room when the kids were all in bed. Yeah. Like, really drunk. We'd had a bottle of tequila between the 3 of us. And then I heard kids running around. It's so bad, isn't it? Heard kids running around, and I'm quite good at pretending to be sober when I'm not. So I said, I'll go out and I'll deal with this to my friend Tony, who's still a teacher. And I went out, and there were these kids all in their nighties and pyjamas, all giggling, and I went out, "What's going on here?" And they were like, "Oh, sorry." I said, "You know you should be in your bedroom. This is absolutely disgraceful." And I was doing a beautiful job when Tony came out of my room, and I don't know why, he was just in his boxer shorts and a really big pair of boots. And he started going like this, "You should be in bed." And I grabbed him by the face. I was so frightened. I grabbed him by the face and I just pushed him back into my room. I closed the door. One of the kids went, Is that Mr. Stevens? And I went, "Yes, he's not feeling very well." And I accepted it. That was it.